So the narrator's grandfather, Antonio, was a wealthy man, and he made a fortune by establishing chains of movie theaters across the country, and his business grew from a small one to $1 million enterprise. And he was a self-made man. He went from rags to riches, and he always said that money doesn't grow on trees, and it was his favorite sayings, and he taught his children and grandchildren to um, to think of true value of money. And he said that um true value of money arising from hard work and ambitions, and he didn't get his money from uh, relatives, or didn't inherit them, or winning a lottery. And he knew how to live from paycheck to paycheck. And uh, uh, once he was so broke that he couldn't afford a bus fare, and he was a reasonable spender. He made investments and put his money into bank account rather than wasting it on luxurious cars, or some houses that cost a fortune. And the narrator was proud of his grandfather because he became rich by doing um, hard work. And he had his principles, and he was very honest. He always paid taxes and refused taking bribes. Also, he was very generous because he donated his money to build schools uh, for some um, for children. And he had never had a college degree, but he strongly believed that you never waste money if you um, spend them on education. And he also established a fund that donated money to business programs for immigrants, and for people who launched startups. And he came to the USA 60 years ago from Salvador. It's a small country in Central America, and he was as poor as a church mouse. He borrowed money from his family, and they owed him. They lended him money as much as they could, and he knew how to live on shoestring, and um, how to live on a shoestring. And he know that there was in America the cost of living was higher than in his country, and he tried to keep his money in savings account. And he tried to invest money in stocks. Sorry. He always said that money makes money, that money makes more money. And he made a lot of different work because he was an immigrant. And he he was unskilled, and he was immigrant, and he worked as a dishwasher, shop assistant, and he took some professions that immigrants do, and he lived on a tight budget, and he took every chance to earn money. He swept the floor in the morning and worked as a security in a nightclub. He still owed money for his family, and he sent money uh, to them. And when he paid off his debt, um, uh, he always respected everybody. He said that you should respect every profession, no matter who you are, because and he always tipped waiters and hairdressers and everybody who worked in the service industry. Um, because he had been in their shoes, and he understood the people were in need. When he were out of debt, he deposited his money into a bank account, and once he saw his future wife, the narrator's grandmother to be. The time he was shy, and he didn't know how to approach to that woman, and he decided to apply for a job in a local movie theater where that woman worked, and to see her more often. And when he started working there, he uh, fell in love with a movie, and that woman fell in love with Antonia. Once then he bought her a diamond that cost an arm and a leg, and he proposed to her, and soon they got married. Later he got promoted in that theater, in that movie theater, and in a few years he ran the entire movie theater. He had a sufficient amount of money, and he could afford to buy a car and a bigger apartment for his family. And mm, mm, he tried to keep his money in savings account and invest them in stocks. He always said that money makes more money, and he soon he left his job and decided to open his own business. He took his money from his bank account, and kept that he kept for a rainy day, and in addition to that he withdrew some money from his bank account and cashed out his stocks, and thanks to that money he was ready to open a movie theater, and he became a business owner. But his first venture was not successful. He failed because of lack of experience and poor location choice. He didn't get much profit of it, and he was belly up. After 6 months, he was run of money, and he had to sell a car and take a loan to settle up. Then he went bankrupt and lost everything. And instead of pitying himself, uh, he um, got enrolled to enterprise course, and after he finished them, he made a business plan, a proper business plan, and he was starting to look for a sponsor, and he managed to find an investors, and he opened another movie theater. And at the time there were the things were going well, and over the years he had the chains of 60 locations in 34 states, and at the age of 18 he decided to retire and went on a trip. He said that he has achieved everything that has been dreaming of, and a couple of years ago he died, and he left, and his family inherited his business, and that's the time when the narrator had to take the lead.